Good afternoon, Real Life Radio listeners. This is Jennifer with your Community Connection Corner here on your Catholic station, Real Life Radio 1380, 94.9 FM. Joined in the studio this afternoon by Mollie Harris and Elias Gross with Lexington Philharmonic. How are you guys?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. In the Community Connection Corner, we just want to give our listeners a snapshot of different organizations in the area and how we can learn more and get involved. So you guys, tell us about Lexphil. I know that's your trendy name, Lexphil.
Yeah, Lexphil. Or the Lexington Philharmonic, however you prefer. We are the region's professional orchestra here in Central Kentucky. We put on 6 or 7 shows a year, and we put on a lot of family concerts. We have a really popular series called the PB&J series, where it's a half-an-hour concert where the little ones from 2 to 6 get really wiggly and get involved in the music. We give them a PB&J sandwich, and then we bring them over to our other biggest educational program, the instrument petting zoos.
Oh, fun.
So there are no lions, there are no puppies either. Sometimes we forget, and we call them petting zoos, and people are like, oh, so should I be prepared for bunnies?
No, we're petting the instruments.
Just trombones.
I've been to one before. It's a good opportunity for, a kid who's going, well, I might want to play the trumpet and then get one in their hands, negative.
Yeah, absolutely. We bring those out all over the state. We bring them to schools. That's personally probably our favorite thing that we do.
Definitely.
So, but yeah, those are just kind of a sampling of what we do, and we're currently getting ready to roll out our next season while we're finishing up this one, so we're a little busy over there in the office.
A little busy.
Yeah.
You could say that. So, how big is the orchestra?
Well, we fill the Singletary stage pretty well. At any given time, we expand and contract for the different repertoire that we do. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the great things about our orchestra is that we have the ability to put on a chamber work, so you could use maybe 30 people, or you could scale it all the way up between our members and our subs and do maybe something that's 100 people on stage. So we are really lucky to be able to be in that position, to have the choice between all of those kinds of works. So like I mentioned before the show, we did the Maria de Buenos Aires opera a couple years ago, or 2 seasons ago. And so that was a smaller orchestra, but we were also able to bring in these really fantastic singers from around the country to join us. And so instead of presenting a Beethoven symphony, which we also love to present, we were able to move into the Black Box Theater at the Downtown Arts Center and do this really intimate experience where everything was staged on the floor and the audience was in raked seating.
Oh, wow.
So you could be on the floor. I was on the floor for one of the shows.
Oh,
it was
wow,
amazing.
that's cool.
Right up in your face, just singing this beautiful Spanish opera.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we do it all.
Fantastic. Now, what is your official role with Lexphil?
I am the marketing manager.
Okay.
And Mollie is the marketing communications assistant.
Very good.
Or
Very
coordinator,
good.
sorry.
Assistant.
Yeah.
Assistant. Sure. Now, how long have you guys been with the Philharmonic?
I've been with Lexphil for about 1.5 years.
Okay.
So I guess rolling up to 2 years in September.
Very cool.
And I started November 1, so.
Oh, you're brand new.
Still fairly new, but.
Yeah, about to hit 6 months.
About to hit 6 months.
Yeah.
Now, Elias, I know you're a musician.
I am.
You play viola?
I play viola and violin and decent piano.
Decent
That's how I
piano,
like to
very
say
good.
it.
And you teach?
I do. I teach at Central Music Academy, and I also teach a couple students privately. But I teach viola and violin students. My youngest is in 4th grade, and they go up to junior in high school.
Cool. And Mollie, are you a musician or just interested?
I play mandolin.
Oh, very cool.
Fairly. Grew up singing in lots of choirs in schools, so the music education aspect of our organization really speaks to me. But yeah, definitely an appreciator of music.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's one of the great things about our staff and our board that I'm getting to know as I get older. Because I was explaining this to a friend the other day that, my world has always been music. I started playing the piano in 2nd grade. I quit because I was terrible at practicing.
Yeah, me too.
I started viola in 6th grade, and then that's kind of, been all she wrote. So I've always been around people. I've been in youth orchestras. I've been involved with different stuff. I interned for an art museum. I interned for the Atlanta Symphony. I've done all these things. And to come and work with people like Mollie, whose life has had music, but it's not been about music, is incredible because she's able to speak about the works and the symphony in ways that kind of escape me because I think about things in such, well, obviously, we practice, we put the show on, this and this.
Right.
Of course, an orchestra concert is this way, just that's been my world. And we have the same experience with a lot of our board members. We have doctors and lawyers and bankers, and we have a veterinarian, and she's one of our most passionate supporters, and she loves to talk to people about music, and it's amazing to hear everybody have their own take on the symphony and why it's important to them. Maybe somebody saw a concert as a kid. Maybe their grandfather played the fiddle, you know? Like all these different ways to tie into what it means to have a symphony in your area.
So how did you know, not as a concert musician, Mollie, get involved with Lex Phil then?
Well, I have a background in English and writing and communication. So when the position opened up, it was an arts organization. So I thought that I could definitely apply the art knowledge that I do have, whether it be literature or music, and communicate that way.
Because a lot of the symphonies and stuff you'll see are based on literature from time to time. There is an influence under there. And he's saying that you have more like an appreciation of that type of view of the music instead of being a performer, being a music appreciator.
Certainly the pieces that have been in our repertoire that have been based in literature, it's definitely a point of access for me, because I'm like, for the Love concert we just had, it was Mendelssohn's A Midsummer Night's Dream. I was like, well, I studied this as an undergrad. It's so I could see and understand how that storyline fit to music. And it really enhanced my enjoyment of that work by Shakespeare.
That's cool.
So.
And to me, that piece is just a standard orchestral excerpt.
Yeah, like, here it is, this is what we play. Yeah.
Okay, worked on this before. Yeah, Mollie, if you want to talk community connections, her sister interned with us, and Mollie still brings her around to volunteer. So I had no idea when I hired Mollie of that. I think it was later on in our second interview over the phone. She's like, oh yeah, by the way, you know my sister Samantha Harris. I was like, oh yeah.
That was cool.
So
you guys have some exciting shows coming up. You're about to wrap up this season and looking towards the next season. You probably can't give us any clues about next season quite yet. But the Charlie Chaplin show is up next, correct?
It is. It is March 14th. And we have 2 more concerts after that. So I say wrapping up the season, we still have a lot left to go.
Right.
But yeah, we'll be at the Singletary Center again, and it's at 7:30 as always for our concerts. We're really excited about this show because we're doing a project that we haven't been able to do in some time, of having a live movie playing with the orchestra playing the score along with it. So kind of in the tradition of the silent films, back in their heyday, you'd have the organ that would accompany or at least open the film, or however people would score those. And this score actually was written by Chaplin himself and was re-released. The film was released in 1942.
So we're going to be watching the film and listening to live music to go along with the film?
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so you have an example of it.
I do.
And it's amazing to think about the way that movie music is scored now, and it's still very similar to the way that Chaplin wrote back in the 40s. Most people don't know that he was a composer himself, which is...
no, I had no idea.
Yeah, one of kind of our favorite little nuggets of knowledge on this concert. But,
Did he write the music for his movies then? Or?
He wrote this score, and he wrote a couple others.
Wow.
So we found some great images of him conducting the orchestra, still looking like the Tramp with his funny little mustache and his bowler hat, but just conducting an orchestra instead.
Oh, wow.
That's
fun. So that's going to be one of the clips you show. Now, is it like a continuous movie that he put together that you'll be showing, or?
It is. It's the program is 88 minutes long without intermission, and it's the whole movie of Gold Rush, the Gold Rush.
That's cool. All right, so we have a clip of the Gold Rush to play.
This music had to be so strong compositionally that it told the whole story of the movie.
Oh, wow.
So if you listen to it on its own, it's still beautiful, and you can kind of figure out maybe some emotions of what Chaplin's going through and his characters. Maybe his search for love you can hear in the sweeping romantic themes.
Right.
Searching, yearning for love.
Yeah.
And that's one of the really amazing powers that music has. In the absence of words here, in the case of our movie, you can still have a very clear idea of what's going on. Yeah. And also, I think this is wonderful because it really adds an element of timelessness to the work. We're talking about a movie that came out in 1925.
1925 was released the first time, and then he wrote the score in 42.
So
after the fact.
We're looking at a film that people still want to watch. People are buying tickets to come to the show to see it on a big screen in Singletary Center. along with an orchestra, it's still something that resonates. Granted, it's the search for gold in the Yukon Mountains, not really a popular activity these days. Or maybe it is, I don't know, not as much urgency. But it's just really wonderful work. And we're working with the Lexington Film League as well to get the word out to different film buffs in town. So
very cool.
Lexington has an amazing film community, from the One World Film Festival to the Film League and just some other organizations that are doing great works to put on great shows. I mean, the Harry Dean Stanton Film Festival comes around, I think it's in the summer. It's just an example of people that like love a movie and will promote it so hard.
Right,
So
yeah.
we're excited to work with them a little bit. We've got our friends from Shooting Frenzy coming back for a live action photo booth. So we talked them into a black and white photo booth.
Oh, wow. How fun.
Yeah, so we're asking our patrons. Black and white is a pretty easy way to come to a concert, but if you can spice it up with some silent film themed attire, just whatever your imagination has for us, we'll enter you to win a subscription for next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. All right, well, it's time for us to take a quick break, but we will be back with more about the Lexington Philharmonic here on your Community Connection Corner on your Catholic station, Real Life Radio 1380 and 94.9 FM.